India just bombed Pakistan.
Well, the military buildup comes as the United States has intensified its campaign against the Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen.
Ukraine also managed to destroy at least 18 of the 29 pieces of heavy equipment Putin deployed in these offensives.
Iran has released a video of its chief of staff of armed forces visiting what Iranian media called an underground missile city.
Do you know how a Pakistani official just responded to Al Jazeera named Faisal Kundi? You know what he said about nuclear weapons? Listen to this. Our nuclear bombs are not meant to be displayed in museums. We will use them if attacked by India. All is fair in love and in war.
Across continents, a dangerous pattern is emerging. Missiles in the Middle East, tanks in Europe, drones in Asia, and now the drums of war beating once again between India and Pakistan. They've fought wars before, they've threatened nuclear strikes, but this time the world is different. The West is stretched thin. The United States is juggling crises on 3 fronts. Europe is bogged down in Ukraine, China is circling Taiwan, and the global economy, already fragile, already on edge. While the world watches a dozen fires burn, one wrong move in South Asia could light the match that sets it all ablaze. But what if this isn't just another border skirmish? What if this is the spark that the world didn't see coming? As tensions between India and Pakistan have already escalated to war, the world is holding its breath, watching to see how this conflict will unfold and what it means for the future of global stability. But in a world where war, economic collapse, and global instability seem increasingly possible day by day, here at Data Dash, there's one question on our mind. Can Bitcoin survive a world at war? Bitcoin, often seen as a hedge against inflation and financial instability, has earned its reputation as a digital safe haven in times of crisis. But with the world teetering on the edge of conflict day by day, is Bitcoin resilient enough to withstand the coming storm? As nations like India and Pakistan stare down their differences, the potential for a larger global war could send shockwaves through markets, digital and traditional alike. And while gold soars to all-time highs, global currencies and traditional stock markets may falter. But can Bitcoin stand side by side with gold to assist in stabilizing the globe? Now, unfortunately, the history of India and Pakistan's dislike for each other runs historically deep. In 1947, as the British Empire carved the Indian subcontinent into 2 nations, what followed was one of the most tragic events of the 20th century. The partition triggered a mass migration of over 15 million people, and up to 2 million men, women, and children were slaughtered in communal violence. Entire trains arrived filled only with corpses, families were torn apart, and the scars never healed. That trauma laid the foundation for a rivalry that has lasted for more than 75 years. A cold, bitter hostility defined by religious tensions, political mistrust, and national pride. They fought full-scale wars in 1947, 1965, and again in 1971. The Cargo War in 1999 was the most dangerous of all, fought in the icy heist of Kashmir. It brought the world the closest it's ever come to a nuclear exchange between 2 states since the Cuban Missile Crisis. And today, that terrifying possibility looms again. Recent months has seen renewed violence in Kashmir. The contested region has remained the heart of their conflict, with cross-border firings, insurgent activities, and a sharp uptick in militia operations. But on May 7th, 2025, India launched Operation Sindoor, a series of airstrikes targeting 9 locations in Pakistan and Pakistan-administered Kashmir. This attack was in retaliation for a deadly attack on April 22nd in India, which resulted in 26 civilian deaths. India attributed the attack to militant groups allegedly supported by Pakistan, a claim Islamabad denies. The Indian strikes hit multiple sites, including 4 in Punjab province, making the first such strikes in this region since the 1971 war, followed by 2 strikes in the administered Kashmir region. In response, Pakistan scrambled its jets and claimed to have shot down 5 Indian aircraft, including 3 fighters. Pakistan's military also reported that Indian missiles struck 6 cities, causing significant damage and civilian casualties. But unfortunately, this isn't just about Pakistan and India or just South Asia. A conflict between India and Pakistan could destabilize the entire region. Afghanistan remains unstable and more capable than ever with US military equipment. China looms in the north, continuing their border dispute with India and building up infrastructure for their coming invasion of Taiwan. Iran is being increasingly hostile, funding the Houthis in further development of a nuclear warhead. A war between 2 nuclear neighbors could quickly spiral into a war with 6 nuclear powers. This would create a refugee crisis, economic collapse, and even draw in additional global powers through defense pacts and proxy alignments. Now, while the powder keg in South Asia smolders dangerously close to explosion, the West, especially the United States, is consumed elsewhere. In Eastern Europe, the US remains heavily committed to Ukraine's war against Russia. Billions of dollars in military aid, intelligence support, and political capital continue to pour into Kyiv, regardless of Trump's push for an end to the war. The conflict has drained American resources, tested NATO unity, and stretched global defense supply chains to the limit. In the Middle East, tensions are boiling over. The conflict in Gaza has reignited long-standing hostilities, drawing in regional powers and raising the specter of a wider war. Meanwhile, Iran's nuclear ambitions and proxy network are causing daily anxiety in Washington and Tel Aviv. The region is a diplomatic minefield, and every move risks broader escalation. Then there's the Asia Pacific, where Taiwan sits in the crosshairs of a rising China. Over the past year, Beijing has intensified military drills, cyber operations, and airspace violations around the island. So much so, as of recent, China has scrambled to build multiple landing barges to more efficiently deploy troops and equipment onto the island. The US, obligated by the Taiwan Relations Act to support Taiwan's defense, has bolstered its presence in the region, but tensions continue to mount. Any spark here could cause a global catastrophe. Across these 3 volatile arenas, America's strategic bandwidth is already being pushed to its breaking point. Defense stockpiles are being depleted, congressional debates are deadlocked over funding, and public appetite for more foreign entanglements is rapidly fading. So although it looks unpromising, what actually happens if India and Pakistan spiral further into a full-blown war? The brutal truth is the US may not be able to respond with the force or urgency that a South Asian crisis demands. Intelligence capabilities, logistical resources, and diplomatic influence are already committed elsewhere. And here's where things get even more dangerous. Adversaries know this. They see the West stretched thin, distracted, and divided. That perception emboldens rogue actors. It whispers opportunities to authoritarian regimes, and it leaves vulnerable regions without a safety net. The result, a world that's not only politically unstable, but economically exposed. Financial markets hate uncertainty, and we saw that as of recent with the tariffs. And right now we're staring down multiple geopolitical flashpoints. But this is where Bitcoin re-enters the frame as both a potential lifeline and a litmus test for what's to come in a world where the old global order is unraveling. You see, war isn't just fought with bullets anymore, it's fought with economies. A full-scale conflict between India and Pakistan wouldn't stay regional, it would send shockwaves through the global economy. In past global conflicts, we've seen this happen. When World War II began in 1939, the New York Stock Exchange shut down for a week. During the Gulf War in 1990 and the Russia-Ukraine invasion in 2022, oil prices spiked and global equities nosedived. You see, war doesn't just kill people, it rattles economies. Now imagine that with nuclear stakes. Oil prices would skyrocket. The conflict zone lies near critical shipping lanes in the Arabian Sea. Even the threat of naval disruption could send oil above $150 a barrel, triggering inflation across every sector of the global economy. Trade routes, as you can imagine, would be disrupted. India is a global hub for pharmaceuticals, tech, and textiles. And what would be the political response? Protectionism. Tariffs would rise, countries would hoard resources, and the idea of an open global economy, something we've built over the decades, could collapse in just a few short weeks. But in the middle of all this chaos, one thing that might not crumble: Bitcoin. It's decentralized, immune to inflationary policy, and independent of national borders. In past crises like the Greek debt default or Venezuela's currency collapse, Bitcoin surged in popularity. If fiat currencies and traditional markets buckle, Bitcoin may not just survive it, and may prove why it was created in the first place. Bitcoin could become the only viable way to preserve value, transact, or even escape. And with $10,000 being the average amount a crypto holder has invested in the market, being able to escape from centralized control is important now more than ever. For years, exchanges and software wallets were the preferred method for accessibility and ease of use. But in 2025, cold storage wallets are in most cases the best all-around solution for your crypto. That's where our sponsor and industry leader Trezor comes in with their newest edition, the Trezor Safe 5. Just a few years ago, it was a pipe dream to have an all-in-one crypto wallet solution that didn't sacrifice on security, ease of use, or third-party accessibility. But with Safe 5, this is now a reality. The Trezor Safe 5 builds on a decade of open source security, offering top-tier protection with EAL6+ secure element protection, as well as PIN and passphrases. Its upgraded 20-word backup phrase and flexible recovery options ensures peace of mind. And with integration of the Trezor suite on desktop and mobile devices, managing and trading your crypto securely has never been easier. If you would like to join over 2 million others and truly control your financial future, get your very own Trezor Safe 5 today and get 10% off with the unique promo code DATADASH. That's 10% off with code DATADASH. Now, once again, this isn't just about two countries exchanging fire across a contested border. It's about something much bigger. It's about the illusion of stability, the dangerous truth that our world, this tightly wound, hyper-connected civilization, is far more fragile than we care to admit. One miscalculation, one ego, one border breached, and the whole system begins to shake. While the world watches Russia's invasion of Ukraine unfold in slow, grinding horror, while bombs fall over Gaza and tensions with Iran escalate, while Taiwan stares down an increasingly assertive China, now the line of control in Kashmir begins to flicker. Another fault line, another crisis, and each new flashpoint stretches global attention and resources thinner and thinner. We're not just experiencing random chaos, we're watching a pattern, a geopolitical unraveling as alliances strain, economies tilt, and diplomacy gives way to military posturing. And unfortunately, it's no coincidence that the doomsday clock now sits at 90 seconds to midnight, the closest humanity has ever been to catastrophe. We haven't been this close since the Cuban Missile Crisis or the peak of the Cold War. In moments like these, people instinctively search for something, anything that feels solid, a hedge against uncertainty, a shield against collapse. And that's where Bitcoin steps into this narrative. Bitcoin isn't perfect, but it isn't fragile. It isn't centralized. It can't be printed, sanctioned, inflated, or manipulated by the next global superpower. It's not American, it's not Chinese, it's not Russian. It's global, stateless, immutable. As fiat currencies swing wildly with every interest rate hike, Bitcoin remains unbound. As traditional financial systems buckle under the weight of war, debt, and inflation, Bitcoin remains. Not because it's immune to volatility, but because it represents a different kind of trust. Not in governments, not in banks, but in code, in transparency, in math. To some, it's a speculative asset. To others, it's the last line of defense in a collapsing world order. In an era where wars don't just disrupt nations, they collapse currencies, cut supply chains, and break markets. Bitcoin may prove to be more than just digital money. It may be the fireproof vault in a burning system. This war, if it expands, will test every institution, every currency, every market, every alliance. And when that test comes, the question won't just be who wins the war, it will be what survives the aftermath.